Esteemed researchers, I am honored to present our research, titled BoundaryScreen, Summoning the Home Screen in VR via Walking Outward. As we all know, in VR, to avoid collisions with real-world objects, we set up a safe area before entering the virtual world. Generally, the safety boundary wall has a large surface. However, existing implementations underutilize this large surface area. On smartphones, swiping upward from the bottom of the screen reveals the home screen, while swiping downward usually brings up the notification center or quick settings. Inspired by these edge gestures, we sought to integrate interactivity into the safety boundary in VR. This led to the development of BoundaryScreen. As shown in the picture, imagine a VR user is in a virtual snow town. When he wants to switch to a virtual office, he walks toward the edge of the virtual space. As he approaches the blue safety borderline on the ground, the safety boundary wall appears. Then, he can tap the icon of the office application on the boundary wall, and he is teleported to the virtual office. As shown in this picture, we have placed application icons, control widgets, and notifications on the safety boundary wall. These elements can be accessed via direct touch, following the concept of what can be summoned by swiping from the edge of a smartphone screen. We designed and conducted 2 experiments for BoundaryScreen: the lab study and the ecological study. In the lab study, we selected the Pinchicon technique and the TAFED technique as candidate home screen summoning techniques. For the Pinchicon technique, as shown in figures A, B, and C. For the TAFED technique, as shown in figures D, E, and F. We explored the influence of 2 factors on users' preferences for summoning the home screen. The first factor is the distance between the user and the safety wall. As shown in figure B, we evenly divided the safe area into concentric circular regions according to the number of steps from the center to the safety boundary. We set the same number of sampling points in each of regions. Participants were required to summon the home screen at these sampling points, and we recorded the summoning methods they chose. After the experiment, we obtained the frequencies of users using the 3 summoning methods in different regions. The second factor we explored is the visibility of the safety boundary, which may also affect users' choices of summoning methods. In this study, we collected a total of 1,080 trials from 24 participants. Please pay special attention to the parts I've circled in red. The results showed that participants significantly preferred BoundaryScreen in the outermost, 2-step wide, ring-shaped section, regardless of whether the safety borderline was visualized on the ground. In the ecological study, we tested BoundaryScreen in 4 realistic VR tasks: rearranging virtual objects, exploring a virtual museum, lecturing in a virtual classroom, and observing anatomical models. We designed these task scenarios from 2 perspectives: the walking mode and the upper limb demand. Constant in the figure required the user to walk constantly to complete a VR routine activity, while occasional required the user to walk occasionally. High indicated that a VR routine activity demanded extensive hand use, and low indicated minimal hand use. We asked users to freely choose a technique to summon the home screen and enter another scene after performing activities for a certain period in each scenario as required. Now, I will play a video to show our scenario demonstration.
In this virtual space, the VR user is tidying up a room, which requires constant walking and involves significant upper body engagement as the user frequently grabs, holds, and places objects. Next, the user walks near the wall to activate the boundary screen and selects the following virtual space. In this virtual space, the VR user is giving a lecture in a virtual classroom. This activity involves a lot of writing with only occasional walking. Similarly, the user approaches the wall to activate the boundary screen and selects the next virtual space. In the third virtual space, the VR user is examining an anatomical model in a virtual dissection room. This virtual space requires occasional walking around the model without the use of hands. Finally, in the last scene, the VR user is exploring a virtual exhibition room, which involves constant walking but no hand use. Once again, the user walks near the wall to activate the boundary screen and selects the next scene.
Okay. After the experiment, we collected a total of 864 trials from 24 participants. In the ecological study, we found that participants preferred BoundaryScreen after prolonged walking tasks. However, after high hand use activities, participants did not favor hand gestures because they felt their upper limbs were easily fatigued. You may have doubts about the value of BoundaryScreen because our lab study shows that users prefer to use our technique when they are only 2 steps away from the safety wall. However, as shown in this picture, under our experimental conditions, the 2 outermost ring-shaped regions actually account for 64% of the total experimental area. In sharp contrast, the 2 innermost ring-shaped regions, where there is a clear preference for hand-based techniques, only account for 16% of the total area. We believe this is sufficient to illustrate the value of this technique. Additionally, I would like to emphasize that our BoundaryScreen is a valuable supplement to current hand-based techniques, not a complete replacement. In the future, we hope to extend BoundaryScreen beyond home screen summoning to other VR interactions. For example, in VR meeting rooms, we can display contact lists on the boundary wall for easy invitation. In gaming, we can place volume and difficulty sliders on the boundary wall for quick adjustment. In tourism applications, users can transition between scenic spots via the boundary wall. Moreover, we aim to further enhance the interaction experience. For instance, we can combine BoundaryScreen with ARPEDs. As shown in this figure, ARPEDs enables users to indirectly interact with a large display via a virtual touchpad near the user's waist, which keeps users' arms in comfortable positions. This combination can avoid the gorilla arm effect during prolonged use. That's all. Thank you for your attention.